Jinwoo's lips traced the edge of Maya's tattoo, hot and possessive against her dark skin. Her breath caught as Jinwoo's hands gripped her waist, pressing her harder against the wall. Blood stained his torn shirt. Not his blood. Never his. And the danger radiating from him should have terrified her. Instead, it set her on fire. Mine, he growled against her shoulder, teeth grazing the fresh ink that had started all of this. The lotus and serpent design that marked her as his property.
Not yet.
Not yet, Maya gasped, but her hands were already in his hair, pulling him closer, contradicting every word. He kissed her again, harder, deeper, swallowing her protests. His thumb traced her jaw, her throat, down to where her pulse hammered against her collarbone. She could taste whiskey and violence on his tongue, could feel the barely controlled power in every movement of his body. "Everything about you is mine," Jinwoo murmured, his Korean accent thickening with desire. This skin, this fire, this defiance. His hand slid up her spine to the tattoo. Especially this. Maya should have fought, should have pushed him away, should have remembered that just days ago she was just a tattoo artist trying to survive, and now she was tangled up with a man who killed without hesitation. But when his mouth found hers again, desperate and demanding, she kissed him back like her life depended on it. Because maybe it did. Let's rewind. Let's go back to where this all started. With too much alcohol, bad decisions, and a tattoo that would change everything. So here's a fun fact about getting blackout drunk in New Orleans. You might wake up with a tattoo you don't remember getting. And here's a less fun fact. That tattoo might be a death sentence. Maya stands in her cluttered bathroom, mascara smudged down her cheeks, her braids going in every direction, holding up her phone's camera to get a better look at what drunk Maya decided was a brilliant idea last night. A lotus flower with serpent coils wrapping through the petals, Korean characters flowing beneath like water. The tattoo is fresh, angry red, and absolutely beautiful. But Maya has no memory of getting it. Her green eyes widen as she takes in the detail, the artistry, the sheer permanence of what she's done. "Oh, you absolute idiot," she mutters to her reflection. Her apartment above Voodoo Ink is a disaster. Half-finished paintings propped against every wall, tattoo designs pinned up like wanted posters, empty wine bottles from what was supposed to be a creativity session scattered across her coffee table. New Orleans' morning light filters through the windows, highlighting the chaos that is Maya's life. She shuffles back to her bedroom, wincing as the fresh tattoo pulls against her ratty tank top. There's a business card on her nightstand that definitely wasn't there yesterday. Red Dragon Parlor, Koreatown. I went to Koreatown? That's like 40 minutes away? She's talking to herself now, which is never a good sign. But seriously, how drunk was she? Her phone rings, nearly making her jump out of her skin. Jazz, her best friend and the only person who tolerates her enough to work the front desk at the shop. "Please tell me you're alive," Jazz says before Maya can even say hello. "Define alive, Jazz. I have a tattoo I don't remember getting." "That's very on brand for you, babe." "On my back. It's got Asian characters, a lotus and snake thing." There's a long pause. Too long. Maya's humor falters. "Where exactly did you get this done?" Jazz's tone has gone from amused to something else. Something cold that makes Maya's stomach drop. "Why? What's wrong?" "Just send me a picture. Now." Maya does. She watches the 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. When Jazz finally responds, it's just, "I'm coming over." She hangs up before Maya can ask what the hell is going on. By the time Maya's thrown on actual clothes and made herself look semi-human, Jazz is already letting herself in with her spare key. She takes one look at the tattoo and her dark skin goes ashen. "Maya, please tell me this is henna." "It's not. Why? What is it?" Jazz pulls out her phone, types something with shaking fingers, and shows Maya the screen. Articles about the Bayekho family, Korean-American organized crime. One of the most powerful mafia families in the South. "It's the mark of the white tiger," Jazz says quietly. "That's their ownership symbol." The words don't make sense at first. Then they do, and Maya feels like she might be sick. Ownership? Like property? Like you're marked as belonging to their organization, usually done to associates, soldiers, or... Jazz trails off, not meeting her eyes. Or what, Jazz? Or the personal collection of the boss? Maya's legs feel weak. She sits down hard on her couch, hand instinctively reaching back to touch the tattoo that's suddenly feeling like a brand. "I need to get this removed, now, today." Jazz shakes her head, braids swinging. "It's fresh. Removal takes months, leaves scars. And Maya, she walks to the window, parts the curtain slightly. I think they already know. Maya joins her at the window, looking down at the street below. A sleek black Mercedes is parked across from her building. Wrong neighborhood for a car like that. As she watches, a man in an expensive suit leans against it, looking directly up at her window. He sees her looking, and he smiles. Before this story goes any further, pause right here and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Because what happens next is going to get wild, and we need to know who's on this ride with Maya. The next morning comes too fast. Maya barely slept, nightmares of shadowy men and permanent marks keeping her awake until dawn. When she finally drags herself down to open Voodoo Ink, she's still wearing a loose tank top because anything else hurts the fresh ink. The shop is her pride and joy. Vintage New Orleans aesthetic mixed with punk rock edge, her artwork covering the walls, the smell of antiseptic and ink that usually feels like home. That feeling lasts exactly 3 minutes. A Mercedes parks outside, not just any Mercedes, but the kind that costs more than her entire year's rent. 3 men in expensive suits step out, and everything about them screams wrong. Too clean, too polished, too dangerous for this neighborhood on a Tuesday morning. The leader is older, maybe 40s, with a stone face that looks like it's never smiled. When he enters, the air in the room changes, becomes heavy with unspoken threat. You are Maya Wanjiku? His English is perfect but accented, each word precisely measured. Maya's standing behind the counter, and her hand instinctively reaches for the pepper spray she keeps in the drawer. Depends on who's asking and whether I owe them money. Show me your back. Whoa, that's at least a third date request, my guy. He doesn't smile, doesn't even blink. The other 2 men move to block the door with the casual efficiency of people who've done this 1,000 times before. Maya's survival instincts finally kick in. Okay, what's this about? She turns around, lifts her tank top just enough to show the tattoo. The man, Marcus, though she doesn't know his name yet, takes a photo and sends it somewhere. His expression, already dark, gets worse. You will come with us. Hard pass, I don't do kidnapping on Tuesdays. He nods to his men, and they move toward her. Maya's reaching for the pepper spray when Jazz bursts in from the back room, sees what's happening, and straight up pepper sprays one of the guys. Chaos explodes. Maya grabs a tattoo gun from her station like it's a weapon. Which, let's be honest, it kind of is. And the 3 of them are in this weird standoff that would be funny if it weren't terrifying. Marcus makes a phone call, speaks in rapid Korean, all hard consonants and clipped words, listens. Then surprisingly backs off. You have 24 hours to present yourself at this address. He slides a black card across her counter, gold lettering, embossed, expensive enough to be a credit card for millionaires. If you don't, we will collect you. And it won't be gentle. They leave as quickly as they came, the Mercedes pulling away like a shark gliding through water. Jazz and Maya stand there, both shaking, staring at the card like it might explode. What the hell was that? Maya whispers. Jazz picks up the card with 2 fingers, like it's contaminated. This is the address of the Beck-Ho estate. Maya, I think you just got summoned by the White Tiger himself. They spend the next few hours Googling everything they can find. Kang Jin-woo, age 35, leader of the Beck-Ho family. Took over at 25 after his father was assassinated in a restaurant in broad daylight. Every article uses words like ruthless, calculating, untouchable. No weaknesses, no mercy. Bodies that disappear. Businesses that burn. But there's other stuff too. He's a patron of the arts, owns half the commercial real estate in the city, collects paintings, expensive ones, the kind that appear in museum retrospectives. He's in photos at gallery openings, always in a perfect suit, always with this expression like he's 3 steps ahead of everyone else, and mildly amused by their attempts to catch up. And he's devastating to look at. Dark eyes that could cut glass, sharp jawline, the kind of presence that probably makes grown men nervous and women forget how to breathe. So I'm marked by a psychopath with good taste, Maya says, staring at his photo on her laptop screen. Great. Jazz is pacing, wearing a track in Maya's floor. You need to run, tonight. I have a cousin in Texas. I'm not leaving my shop, my life, over some drunk mistake. Maya, these people don't mess around, I know. Maya does know. She spent hours reading about executions disguised as accidents, families destroyed for disrespect, territory wars that left bodies in the street. I'm going to go. What? To the meeting tomorrow, I'll go. Are you insane? maybe, probably. But what choice does she have? Running means living in fear forever, looking over her shoulder, giving up everything she's built. At least if she faces this head-on, she'll know what she's dealing with. She spends that night doing more research, getting angrier with each article she reads. Women treated like property, people disappearing, violence as currency, control as religion. By the time the sun comes up, painting her apartment in shades of gold and pink, she's made her decision. If she's going into the lion's den, she's going in on her terms. Maya puts on her best vintage dress, the red one that hugs her curves and makes her feel dangerous instead of scared. Does her makeup with a steady hand, cat eye sharp enough to cut. Texts the number on the card. Fine, I'll come, but I'm driving myself. The response is immediate. You'll be escorted 8 p.m. All right, Mr. Mob Boss, she mutters to her reflection. Let's see how you handle a girl who's got nothing left to lose. At exactly 8 p.m., a different car arrives. This one's even more expensive, if that's possible. The driver is polite, silent, opening doors and offering water like she's a guest instead of a prisoner. They drive out of the city, away from the French Quarter's beautiful decay, into neighborhoods where the houses have names instead of numbers and gates instead of chain-link fences. The estate is a mansion. An actual, honest-to-God mansion with columns and manicured gardens and guards everywhere, trying to look casual and failing spectacularly. Maya's led through marble hallways lined with art that makes her artist's heart ache. Is that a Rothko? She can't help but gasp. The man leading her looks back, almost amused. Then they're at an office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, and there's a man standing with his back to her, examining a painting on an easel. Her painting. One she sold months ago at a gallery show, a piece about loneliness in crowded rooms that she'd poured her soul into. Maya Wanjiku. His voice is smooth, cultured, with an accent that speaks of international schools and expensive education. You're late. Traffic, she says, proud that her voice doesn't shake. You know how it is. He turns around, and every sarcastic comment dies in her throat. The photos didn't do Kang Jin-woo justice. In person, he's overwhelming. Perfectly tailored charcoal suit that probably costs more than her car. Dark eyes that seem to see right through every defense she's ever built. Presence that fills the entire room like smoke. Their eyes meet and the air feels electric, charged, dangerous. Do you know what you've done? He asks, and there's something in his voice. Amusement? Curiosity? I'm guessing I crashed one of your guys' parties and passed out in a tattoo chair? A slight smile curves his lips. Dangerous. You stole a bottle of soju from my nephew's bachelor party. Got into a drinking contest with my men. Won, somehow, which impressed them considerably. Then demanded they take you to a tattoo parlor. You chose that design from a book and insisted it be placed exactly where it is. That sounds like drunk me. She's an idiot. That design is only worn by 3 people in this city. Myself, my brother, and my late father. It signifies claim, ownership, that you belong to the Baekho. He walks closer, each step measured and precise. Every instinct Maya has tells her to back up, to run, to do anything but stand there. She holds her ground. Well, I don't, so we'll just remove it, I'll apologize to drunk me, and we're done. It's not that simple. He's close now. Too close. She can smell his cologne, expensive, cedar, and something else, something that makes her head spin. My men saw you wearing it. Word has spread through certain circles. Other families now think you're under my protection, or that you're... He pauses. Mine, so tell them I'm not. In my world, perception is reality. If I say you're not mine, you become vulnerable. A target. The Yakuza. The Russians. The Italians. They'd take you just to prove they could. Just to show that I'm weak. That I can't protect what I claim. The reality of her situation crashes down like a wave. Maya feels trapped, cornered, like prey that's just realized the predator's been there all along. So what are you saying? I'm saying the mark stays, and you have 2 choices. His voice is calm, matter of fact, like he's discussing a business arrangement instead of her entire life. You can accept my protection willingly, live here under my care, as my companion, or I take you by force and you live here as a prisoner. Either way, you're not leaving until this situation is resolved. Maya stares at him. Then she laughs, actually laughs, and it echoes in this ridiculous office with its expensive art and floor-to-ceiling windows. You're serious? Completely. Those are terrible options. They're the only options. Something in Maya snaps. Maybe it's the fear. Maybe it's the anger at drunk her for getting into this mess. Maybe it's just that she spent her whole life having men tell her what she can and can't do. Whatever it is, she steps closer to him, into his personal space, close enough to see his eyes widen slightly, and looks him dead in the eye. Then I choose option 3. And here's where things get interesting. Don't click away now, because what Maya said next changed everything. If you want to see how a nobody tattoo artist made a mafia boss reconsider his entire worldview, you need to watch to the very end. Jinwoo looks intrigued despite himself. There is no option 3. Sure there is. Here it is. I stay. I play along with your little protection fantasy, but I'm not your prisoner, and I'm definitely not your companion. I'm me. I do my work. I live my life. And if you want anything more than that? She steps even closer, bold enough to be stupid, reckless enough to be brave. You're going to have to beg for it. The room goes completely silent. Maya can hear his men shifting behind her, tense, probably reaching for weapons. No one speaks to him like this. She can see it in their faces, in the way Jinwoo's jaw tightens. He studies her for a long moment, dark eyes roaming her face like he's memorizing every detail. You think you can make me beg? I think you're used to people being terrified of you. I think you're used to getting everything you want with a snap of your fingers. And I think... She smiles, the same smile she uses when she's about to do something spectacularly stupid. I think you're already interested in what makes me different. The sexual tension between them is so thick she could cut it with a knife. His eyes drop to her lips, then back up. Something dangerous flickers in his expression. You're either very brave or very stupid. I'm a tattoo artist who grew up in the 9th Ward. I've had knives pulled on me for charging too much. I've had drunk tourists try to rob my shop at 3 a.m. I've survived Hurricane Katrina and its aftermath. But I've also learned something about men like you. She pauses. You're bored. Nothing challenges you anymore. Everyone either fears you or wants something from you. But me? She shrugs. I'm a challenge. Jinwoo is quiet for so long Maya thinks he might actually just have her thrown out. Or shot. She's not entirely sure which would be worse. Then he speaks, and there's something in his voice she can't quite read. Fine. You may stay. You'll have a room in the East Wing. Your shop will remain open and under our protection. You'll attend certain events with me to maintain appearances, and we'll see. He leans in, and his breath is warm against her cheek, making her shiver despite herself. How long your bravado lasts. Maya doesn't flinch, doesn't back down. Looking forward to it? The first week is surreal. They move her into the mansion. Her room is gorgeous, all silk sheets and marble bathroom, and a view that makes her want to paint at sunrise. But it feels like a gilded cage, so Maya immediately starts putting up her art, her designs, making it hers. If she's going to be trapped, she's going to be trapped in a space that reflects her, not him. Dinners with Jinwoo become a nightly ritual. Tense conversational battles where they circle each other like opponents in a ring. He asks about her art with genuine interest that surprises her. She asks why he became a criminal instead of using his obvious intelligence for something legal. Neither of them gives straight answers, both of them testing boundaries. He insists she learn self-defense if she's going to be associated with him. You're a target now, he says simply. Maya's surprisingly good at it, which earns grudging respect from his men. There's something deeply satisfying about throwing a 6-foot-tall bodyguard over her shoulder. The weirdest part is the gallery opening. Jinwoo brings her to an exclusive art show in the warehouse district, introduces her as his artist in residence, which is a creative way of saying marked property, and she plays along. But she whispers snarky commentary about the pretentious guests that almost makes him smile. Almost. She catches the corner of his mouth twitching and counts it as a victory. At night, lying in her too comfortable bed, Maya thinks, so this is my life now. Living with a crime lord who looks at me like I'm a puzzle he wants to solve. Or devour. Maybe both. It's late, maybe 3 in the morning when Maya can't sleep anymore. The mansion is too quiet, too big, too full of shadows that make her think of dangerous men with dangerous intentions. She wanders the halls, still getting lost, the place is massive, and finds light coming from under a door. Jinwoo's study. She shouldn't go in, she knows she shouldn't, but Maya's never been good at doing what she should. Jinwoo is sitting behind his desk, glass of whiskey in hand, staring out the window at the city lights. He looks exhausted, human. His guard completely down in a way she's never seen, tie loosened, hair slightly mussed. Can't sleep? Maya asks from the doorway. He actually startles, which is oddly satisfying, then recovers. You should be in your room. I don't do well with should. You might have noticed. She sits down in the chair across from him without waiting for permission. After a moment, he pours her a drink, sliding it across the desk. Their fingers brush, and Maya feels electricity arc between them. Do you ever regret it? She asks. This life? He's quiet for a long time, long enough that she thinks he won't answer. Every day, and never. That's a very non-answer. It's the only answer I have. Their eyes meet across the desk, and something shifts. The tension between them changes from antagonistic to something else. Something charged and dangerous and inevitable, like a storm building on the horizon. He reaches out, almost touches her face, then pulls his hand back like she's burned him. You should go, he says quietly, but there's no force behind it. What if I don't want to? Before he can answer, his phone rings. His expression hardens instantly, all that vulnerability disappearing behind walls so high and thick Maya can almost see them. He answers in rapid Korean, his voice sharp, commanding. Then stands. Get to your room, lock the door, don't open it for anyone but me. What's happening? Now, Maya. The command in his voice makes her move without thinking. She runs back to her room, locks the door like he said, then she hears it, shouting from somewhere in the mansion, orders being barked in Korean and English. Gunfire in the distance, sharp cracks that make her flinch. Maya's heart is pounding so hard she thinks she might pass out. Hours pass. The house goes silent, which is somehow worse than the noise. Maya's sitting on her bed, clutching a heavy lamp like it's a weapon, when there's a knock at her door. It's me, Jinwoo says through the door. Maya unlocks it, and her breath catches. He's covered in blood. His shirt is torn. There's a cut on his sharp cheekbone. His knuckles are raw and bleeding. But he's alive, and the relief that floods through her is almost overwhelming. Without thinking, she pulls him inside, closing the door behind him. Jesus, what happened? The Kuzlov Bratva, Russians, they made a move on our territory. They wanted you. Me? Why? To send a message. That I'm weak. That I can't protect what's mine. I'm not yours, Maya says automatically, but her voice is shaking. He grabs her wrist, pulls her close. His voice is rough, raw, stripped of all pretense. Aren't you? Everything stops. The adrenaline, the fear, the blood on his